Welcome to Past Us. Today we'll talk about the top 14 celebrities who died of AIDS in the 80s. When the AIDS epidemic first gained notice, the world was terrified, a gruesome and deadly disease. Although AIDS treatment has made many strides in the past few years, that doesn't mean that people are immune from the disease, if they aren't careful. It even managed to infect some of the world's most famous actors, musicians, and other celebrities. Here are also famous people who died of HIV infection. But before starting the video, be sure to smash the like button and subscribe to never miss out on any of our videos. Number 14. Liberace. Liberace was an American pianist, singer, and actor. Liberace enjoyed a career spanning 4 decades of concerts, recordings, television, motion pictures, and endorsements. At the height of his fame, from the 1950s to 1970s, Liberace was the highest paid entertainer in the world, with established concert residencies in Las Vegas and an international touring schedule. Liberace embraced a lifestyle of flamboyant excess both on and off stage, earning him the nickname Mr. Showmanship. He died of cytomegalovirus pneumonia as a result of AIDS on February 4, 1987. Number 13. Gia Carangi. Gia Carangi, often referred to as one of the world's first supermodels, is perhaps best known simply as Gia. She burst onto the scene in the late 1970s, traveled the world, posed for famous photographers, landed on the covers of Vogue and Cosmopolitan, and fronted campaigns for Dior, Versace, and Yves Saint Laurent. While her life had all the elements one would expect of a fashion darling in New York. At age 26, she died of November 18th, 1986 of AIDS-related complications, believed to have contracted the disease from a contaminated needle, becoming one of the first famous women to die of the disease. Number 12. Elizabeth Glaser. Elizabeth Glaser was an American AIDS activist and child advocate married to actor and director Paul Michael Glaser. She contracted HIV very early in the modern AIDS epidemic after receiving an HIV-contaminated blood transfusion in 1981 while giving birth. Like other HIV-infected mothers, Glaser unknowingly passed this virus to her infant daughter Ariel through breastfeeding. She died on December 3, 1994 of AIDS-related complications. Number 11. Perry Ellis. Perry Ellis was regarded as an outstanding designer of American sportswear in the 1970s and 1980s. In order to appreciate the far-reaching allure of his best-known invention, a deceptively simple homemade-looking sweater, one should understand the potent appeal that American sportswear held in the 1970s. What Perry Ellis did best was take elements of classic American-style stadium coats, tweed jackets, and culottes and adapt them to suit the changing time. Ellis died on May 30th, 1986 at viral encephalitis, an inflammation of the brain, after having slipped into a coma several days ago. But rumors of Ellis's HIV-positive status made news after it became to light that his lover and business partner, Laughlin Barker, died of Kaposi sarcoma, an AIDS-related cancer. Number 10. Amanda Blake. Amanda Blake was an American actress best known for the role of the red-haired salon proprietress Miss Kitty Russell on the Western television series Gunsmoke. She died on August 16, 1989 of HIV. How she contracted HIV remains a mystery, but listed on her death certificate as a partial cause of death was CMV hepatitis, or cytomegalovirus, an AIDS-related condition. Number 9. Steve Rubell. Steve Rubell was an American entrepreneur and part owner, along with friend Ian Schrager, of the New York disco studio 54. Rubell and his brother Don spent their childhoods with their parents in Brooklyn, New York. His father worked for the U.S. Postal Service and later became a tennis pro. In 1985, Rubell, who was closeted for most of his life, discovered he had contracted HIV, which later progressed to AIDS. He died on July 25, 1989. Rubell's official cause of death is listed as hepatitis and septic shock, complicated by AIDS. Number 8. Rock Hudson. Hudson was Hollywood's ultimate leading man throughout the 1950s and 60s, romancing some of the industry's most beloved actresses on screen, such as Doris Day, Julie Andrews, and longtime friend Elizabeth Taylor. He was briefly married in order to mask his homosexuality. Hudson died of AIDS-related complications in 1985. Hudson was the first major Hollywood star to die of the illness. In response to the loss of her beloved friend, Taylor co-founded the American Foundation for AIDS Research and later the Elizabeth Taylor AIDS Foundation. Number 7. Halston. Roy Halston Frowick, known mononymously as Halston, was an American fashion designer who rose to international fame in the 1970s. His minimalist, clean designs, often made of cashmere or ultra suede, were a new phenomenon in the mid-1970s, discotheques and redefined American fashion. In the 1980s, Halston contracted HIV, which eventually developed into AIDS. According to an LA Times obituary, Halston passed away at age 57 in San Francisco. Specifically, he died of Kaposi sarcoma, a kind of AIDS-related cancer that he battled for 18 months. Number 6. Robert Reed. Robert Reed was an American actor mostly known for television roles. His most famous role was that of Pater Family's Michael Paul Mike Brady in the popular sitcom The Brady Bunch, 1969 to 1979. He returned to this role in several of the sitcom's sequels and spin-offs. Robert Reed shocked the nation when he died suddenly on May 12, 1992, from AIDS-related colon cancer at the age of 59. Number 5. Klaus Nami. Klaus Sperber, known professionally as Klaus Nami, was a German countertenor noted for his wide vocal range and an unusual, otherworldly stage persona. In the 1970s, Nami immersed himself in the East Village art scene. Nami died in 1983 at the age of 39 as a result of complications from AIDS. He was one of the earliest known figures from the arts community to die from the illness. Number 4. Keith Haring. Keith Haring is known for colorful cartoon artworks and certain characters such as crawling babies, barking dogs, and spaceships. Keith Haring is one of the key members of a group of avant-garde New York-based artists who helped him to redefine the boundaries of modern art in the 1980s. Keith Haring died of AIDS-related complications at the age of 31 on February 16, 1950. Number 3. Tom Fogerty. Thomas Richard Fogerty was an American musician best known as the rhythm guitarist for Creedence Clearwater Revival. He was posthumously inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1993. Tom Fogerty's tragic death in 1990 was officially caused by tuberculosis, according to the New York Times, but the respiratory failure caused by the disease was yet another unfortunate event in the musician's life. Later, it would be reported that Fogerty's tuberculosis was a complication from the AIDS virus, which he acquired from a tainted blood transfusion during a back surgery in the 1980s. Number 2. Brad Davis. Robert Creel Davis, known professionally as Brad Davis, was an American actor known for starring in the 1978 film Midnight Express, Chariots of Fire, and the 1982 film Quarrelly. Brad Davis died Sunday at his home in Studio City. He was 41 and died of AIDS-related complications, said his wife. Number 1. Ryan White. In the 1980s, Indiana-born Ryan White became the poster child of the AIDS epidemic. He was a hemophiliac and contracted the disease through contaminated blood. Because of mistreatment by adults in his community and bullying by peers at school, White and his family set out to educate people on the facts of the disease. Ryan White was 13 when he was diagnosed with AIDS after a blood transfusion in December 1984. On April 8, 1990, 18-year-old Ryan White dies of pneumonia due to having contracted AIDS from a blood transfusion. Thank you for watching. If you liked our video, then hit the subscribe button and never miss out on any of our videos. See you next time.